Aloha. Welcome to Mindful Hawaii. Thank you for joining us. If you happen to be surfing the channels, catch this wave. You will be in for a great ride. Each month on this show, we bring you interesting people and stories from the front lines of the mindfulness movement. Mindful Hawaii is an organization dedicated to promoting, encouraging, supporting, and connecting individuals, organizations, and communities pursuing mindful ways of being and living. Today, I'm really happy and excited to welcome Dr. Greg Ewan to our Mindful Hawaii Olelo show. Greg is a Hawaii-born and raised person. He's been around many corners in Hawaii. He is no stranger to Hawaii's culture. Greg attended the University of Hawaii, and after graduation, he applied and was accepted to the Governor John A. Burns School of Medicine, JABSOM, as some affectionately call it. After completing medical school, he also did his residency at JABSOM. Greg pursued psychiatry as his specialty. He is a licensed psychiatrist in private practice for the last 40 years. Greg is also a Tai Chi instructor. He has been teaching Tai Chi at Kapiolani Park and Kailua Beach Park for the last 40 years. Greg's Buddhist teacher is Khentrul Rinpoche of the Nyingma sect. I got that? Yeah. He is a meditation leader. Greg says that his goals are longevity and spiritual development for himself and others. So before we dive into the theme of our show, which is mindfulness in the body, can you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay.
And welcome, Greg, by the way.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy, for inviting me to be part of this show. Well, it all started when I was 12 years old, and my grandmother died.
Oh.
And at that time, I had a lot of fear of death. So it kind of launched me in this pursuit of longevity, immortality, sort of like the fountain of youth, the elixir for, immortality, if you will. So I've been kind of on that path all these years and still continue on that path.
Started very early in life, huh?
Yeah, it did. It started with such a big impact, fearing death and wondering, what, I'm going to be facing it at some point. So I was really looking for a way out, if you will.
Well, you're not the only one, actually. Everybody is looking at that question, although some people don't really look at it.
Really?
And I think that's I think a problem for them too.
Yeah, it's a valuable thing to face, actually.
Yeah.
So I got into a discipline called macrobiotics, which is having to do with dietary approaches using principles of yin and yang to help you to achieve health and happiness. I got into learning Tai Chi and got into that. Qigong, I got into Qigong.
Qigong, yes.
And what it kind of eventually got into was a discipline called Douyin, which is a self-massage technique that I'm really trying to promote these days.
Okay.
Yeah. So this whole idea of the mindfulness of the body has to do with, you being more in touch with your body. There's a couple of ways to approach it. The way you can approach it through Chinese medicine is to say that the Tai Chi classics say where your mind goes, the Qi goes. You may be familiar with the Qi. It's the vital force within the body. And in acupuncture, they're putting needles in you to balance that energy. In Chinese medicine, they say that most diseases are a result of an imbalance or a blockage in that flow of qi. So what Tai Chi can help you do is to kind of help you circulate that qi in your body. You know? They also say where the qi goes, the blood goes. So if you have awareness to a spot in your body, the qi will gather there and the blood will gather there.
I see.
So that good nutrients, oxygen will come to that spot, and the carbon dioxide and toxins will be eliminated.
I see.
So your body will reach optimal health by you having this awareness in different parts of your body.
I see.
Yeah.
You know, I read something not too long ago about in Western medicine is moving more towards holistic medicine, you know, and they were talking about the qi, and of course there's a big battle going on, saying some people say, that's not, some people say, but it seems to me like more and more people are coming to realize that there are energy systems within a person.
Yeah. Well, you can argue about does it really exist? You know, they haven't been able to sort of measure it per se. But what I usually tell my students is rub your hands together.
Yeah.
And then pull your hands apart. Pull your hands apart. And you feel something, some kind of afterglow, right?
The energy.
Okay, yeah. So the thing is about that is the energy is always there. I mean, we're not dead. We're still alive. Qi is flowing. But the point of how you can reach better levels of health is to be able to train yourself so that you can hold your hand out, put your awareness on your hand, and you can feel that same feeling in your hand without having to rub your hands together. See? So it's kind of reached that level of cultivation of the qi in your body where you can feel it in your hand.
So what's involved in the cultivation process?
Well, very good. It involves mindfulness, and that's what we're talking about. Right. So the key is being aware of the feelings in your body. Yeah? So wherever you put your mind, the qi will go. So for example, Tai Chi, when we're doing the Tai Chi movement, when we're doing a movement like this, say for example, you're following the feelings in your body along with that movement. And as you follow it, the qi is flowing along that line, you see. So I tell my students that Tai Chi is really a sort of a mind's journey throughout the body.
I see.
And as it journeys throughout the body, you reach great level of qi circulation.
So the practice, the movements themselves are a way to move energy within your body.
Right. Well,
also moving your mind. Your mind is moving.
Yeah, your mind is sort of following the movements. And if you get more advanced, you could say that the mind actually leads the movement. We can get to a point where it leads the movement. So the qi is moving and the body's following, so to speak. Yeah. So that's more advanced. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's. I mean, in the Orient, in Chinese history, I mean that's a common practice, right? The blood pressure, the qi.
Yeah, I think I would have to say I don't see it emphasized enough. You know, I mean, if you go to China, for example, or Taiwan, in the morning they're all doing exercises. Yeah,
right.
Tai Chi
I've been
and so
to China
forth.
And I've seen the older folks practicing in the park.
But I want to make an important point to everyone that it's not just doing the exercise, it's connecting the mind to the body, really being there. Yeah. And over the years, it's been, I've been doing this a lot of years. I have to say I've had a lot of difficulty getting people to connect the mind and the body because it's not something we learn in school, right?
Yeah. What is that? Is that a culture, Western culture? Or?
Well, I don't think it. I would say some of it might be Western culture to a degree, but I think just in general, we are more concerned about more outward appearances. For example, I have a little bit of a beef with fitness, for example, because sometimes too much of the emphasis is, I want to run, a 10K or do a marathon and be able to put my body through this and really achieve a goal, but not enough effort or attention is given to focusing on caring for the body. Because when you place your attention on the body, you are really caring for it. One way to think of it is you're loving your body, you know? And if you're gonna be healthy, you can achieve that by loving every part of your body. And how do you love it? By giving it focused attention, to every part of it. And that's kind of what I try to incorporate in this Do-In practice. It's I call it mindful self-massage. Yeah. Do-In was introduced to me through the macrobiotic community. And basically it derives from, the Chinese used to call it Dao-In. Japanese call it Do-In. So Do-In is really kind of a portion of the full Dao-In, because Dao-In has more like exercises of movement, whereas Do-In is more primarily focused on just massage and maybe kind of working with the acupuncture points in the body. You know?
Is that equivalent to what I think is very popular now, is the tapping?
Yeah, I'm sure it involves a similar dynamics. Yeah, it's kind of involving similar dynamics. It's getting the attention to different parts. Yeah, so that is very similar in the way that it produces the effects.
Well, it seems that when they do the tapping, it's along the meridian, the body.
Right. They can use the same kind of system, the acupuncture that we're kind of using too. But I like to emphasize that we're trying to get to the whole body, the whole body. I believe in this principle of the whole. The word whole, the word holy, and the word health are derived from all of the same derivatives etymologically. Holos is a Greek term. Yeah? So if you keep this idea of the whole, you're going to be healthy, and you're going to be healthy, happy, holy and healthy. Holy and healthy, yeah.
H-O-L-Y, holy, or?
Yeah, H-O-L-Y, holy, and H-E-L-T-H-Y, healthy, right? Okay, so in the Do-In, my emphasis is on massaging every part of your body, yeah? Okay, because most of the way people help you, they say, oh, you do certain points, or do this, or do that, or treat locally. You know, if you got a pain in your elbow, you know, maybe massage around it or whatever. But I guess what I'm trying to say is you'll get more value if you do the whole body. You can still focus on the spot that is hurting you. But if you do the whole body, you're going to get a much more beneficial result. It's what I would call a synergistic result, where, you know, 2 and 2 is greater than 4.
Right.
The effect.
So I have a question for you here. I mean, a person can massage the front part of the body. What about the back portion?
Very good. I actually incorporate a back knobber in my Do-In practice.
Back what?
A back knobber. It's a tool, massage tool. It's kind of shaped like an S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's made out, made out of plastic, sort of. Yeah, and I incorporate it because I'm trying to follow this principle of the whole. Okay. In traditional Do-In, what happened was they would pair up with the shiatsu practitioners. So the shiatsu practitioners would massage the backs, and the Do-In practitioners do the front, right?
I see.
But in this case, I want people to be self-reliant, so they got the back knobber, they can massage their backs on their own and really get all those points.
I see. Okay.
So that's how it works.
Wow, I've seen sticks that has a curve, and people can.
Yeah, right.
I don't know how.
Or the Hawaiians have the lomi stick. A lot of times they have that kind of sharp stick when they do the back.
I remember some time ago, this man, he was giving shiatsu on the foot, foot massage, and he made me sweat.
Really?
I was touching points.
Right.
But then he gave me a stick. A core stick, a short one, and said, "Oh, you know what you do? You
put your foot on it.
Put a foot on." So I would assume the same principle applies.
Yeah.
It's a little more. It's a little harder and stiffer, and it does. I would assume loosen up the blood vessels and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm really impressed with what I'm reading nowadays about the waking up of Western culture, Western medicine with the East. Yeah, it's not that the East was ahead.
Yeah.
It's just that they introduced another dimension towards health, and medicine and health.
I think it's trending more to embrace the Eastern methods of healing and so forth. I think more and more. Yeah.
And I think you know the traditional physicians or doctors, they need to open up. You know,
Yeah, that would be great.
They're steadfast with the so-called science.
Yeah.
Science is important. It does wonderful things.
Yes, definitely.
But it tends to serve as a barrier to opening up. Yeah.
Makes it difficult.
Isn't the same thing as a spiritual thing of the human being?
I'm not sure what your question is exactly.
My question is that when we begin to see ourselves as limited in certain ways, we're not opening up.
Oh, I see. Well, I think.
For example, if you don't believe that you have spirituality within yourself, you're not going to find it.
Right. Exactly true. I mean, one of the elements of chi cultivation, I can say, one of the first elements is belief. You got to believe in the chi.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like you know, if you think, well, it's some kind of hocus pocus, or talking about some kind of supernatural thing. You know, if you have that attitude, you're not going to experience it.
Yeah.
But when we, like I said, you rub your hands and you feel something, that's sort of the chi. So it's not something intangible. It's really there in that sense. But it takes training to cultivate it, where you can just hold your hand out and you can just have the awareness, and then the chi will just gather there. It takes training.
It's like the energy healing that someone can actually, through their own energy, affect the body or illness of another person. Yeah, in fact, there's a group of guys that I know in Hilo. They go to China every year just to practice this stuff. It's amazing. Yeah. And they seem happy and healthy and all that. But okay. So tell me about your involvement with meditation.
Well, when I was 12, I got involved with the Brotherhood of the White Temple.
Oh wow!
I don't know if you ever heard of that organization.
Sounds mysterious.
Yeah. In fact, they still exist.
Oh yeah.
From
Brotherhood of the White Temple.
White Temple, yeah.
Wow.
I was introduced to it by a gentleman who was a warehouse man where my dad had his company.
Oh.
So he kind of turned me on to it. Here, I'm a teenager, right? He's turning me on to these things, and I'm just kind of looking at, wow, some interesting stuff. They had meditation, things like that. So that's when I first started meditating, actually. And then through the years, I guess it got to a point like when I was in college, I was thinking to myself, geez, man, nobody that I know is meditating, And so, geez, am I kind of weird or something? What's wrong with me? I'm the only one that I know of that's meditating. So it happened that there was a meditation group at UH.
Oh, so medical school or?
No, at UH, the UH, yeah. I don't know if you know Karma Lekshe Somo?
I know Karma.
Yeah.
I visit her all the time.
Yeah, okay. She was leading that group. This was years before she became a nun, of course. Yeah, so she was leading that group, and after I got to join that group, I said, I felt so at ease, like, hey, I'm not the only one that's doing this, and I'm not weird, or, So then I just continued that, on my own, and I've been exploring, various things related to Buddhism, Zen, and so forth after that.
So you didn't think nothing of the situation when you were studying for your exams in medical school, and that you felt sort of light and happy about it.
Well, I'm
not
sure.
Not pressure.
Well, at that time, I was, in medical school, I was already doing Tai Chi. So I had Tai Chi, I had meditation, I had macrobiotic diet. So I was kind of all into the whole, wellness kind of thing, holistic approach to living. So it definitely helped me to get through medical school. There's no doubt about that.
So there was an individual pursuit at that time, right?
Right, pretty much.
It wasn't in the context of a school curriculum.
No,
or
not at all.
alternative?
Not at all. I'm sure you'd like to see a movement towards that.
Of course.
More in the
but it's moving
educational.
in that direction, but maybe not fast
Yeah,
enough.
yeah. Slowly.
Because I think mindfulness has a lot to contribute to the improvement of our society. Not just individuals.
Yeah, definitely.
Even John Kabat-Zinn, the founder of that stress reduction meditation, he says that it's more than a self benefit. It's about changing society.
Right. I think so. Well, from a Buddhist standpoint, what we call shamatha, I think is the basic kind of insight meditation or the basic meditation, that calm abiding meditation that the general public is used to. Calms people down, helps you get focused on things. It's very valuable, very valuable. It's the kind of the foundational meditation that we do in Buddhist practice. And it can be used in all the other Buddhist practices that we do, because if you can't focus well, you're not going to be able to do your practice very well. So that's why it's so important, you know. And it's.
I think
very
from an
valuable.
individual benefit standpoint, I think there's no question about it that thing certainly helps you. But I at Mindful Hawaii, we're looking at how does this happen how can this actually impact the transformation of culture, you know?
Transformation of culture.
Yeah,
wow, that's a difficult transition to go from an individual to a cultural change. That's a big impact.
Well,
right?
the idea being is that when you meditate and you become mindful, you begin to put out in your actions different spiritual aspects, you know.
Yeah.
And we'd like to see more of that happen.
Yeah. Well, I think the way that we would approach it from a Buddhist standpoint is keeping it still to the individual, yeah? So the idea being we each individually need to work on ourselves.
Right.
And by doing that, the culture and society will sort of automatically transform.
As more and more people do that, they will become like beings, right?
Right, yeah.
And so their behavior is what impacts the transition.
So your work would be to reach more and more people and get them sort of turned on to this.
Encourage
approach.
them to become more mindful, practice mindfulness and that kind of stuff. And then as a result of that, it begins to impact the larger society. And this can be said for educators who are in school or even politicians for that matter. You know, we would like to encourage them to become mindful, to be more mindful. And so it begins to show up in their policy decisions, right? At some point.
Yeah, sure.
And well, anyway, that's what we hope can happen.
It'll happen automatically once people get more mindful.
So as you spread it around, it really helps.
Yeah.
I personally am hopeful that we can maybe make an impact society, you know, societally, with regard to some change and some.
It's happening. I think you see it happening a little by little. So it's happening.
People all over the place there. There are also a lot of people who are angry. You know, their minds are not.
We still have angry
centered.
people in the world. We still have wars in the world.
We will have that too. But we would like to impact the situation where it becomes less and less. You know, and that's the hope anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, so you've been a Buddhist practitioner, for many years.
Well, it's kind of at first took refuge. They call it refuge. It's kind of like baptism in Christianity, right? Took refuge maybe in '95, but I don't think I was a real serious practitioner, I would say, in the Buddhist standpoint. Maybe only more recently I've become a little more serious. I have, my teacher and so forth. So I got a little more guidance and I have a better idea of what I'm heading towards.
Okay.
The whole goal is, enlightenment, right?
That's true.
Buddhism is enlightenment, so that's what we're up to. Uh-huh.
What is your thoughts? What is your idea of enlightenment?
Enlightenment? Oh, gosh.
Just an idea.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm not enlightened yet, so I can only talk about my ideas about it. Right?
It's a process.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a level where you become at one with what you're doing. You're kind of not thinking of you doing it. You're kind of just doing it, and whatever comes up in life doesn't really faze you. You're pretty much at peace with whether something turns out good or something turns out bad.
Yeah.
Like, I could have concern about this interview today, like, how am I going to come across? Like,
well, you're doing
what's going to happen? Well, I know, but those are kind of things that a person that maybe not so enlightened might think of. And honestly, I have entertained those thoughts. Okay, but the point is yeah, whatever comes up, if you can take it with a level of what we would call maybe equanimity, like not if it's not the outcome you wanted, handle it. If it is the outcome you want it, you don't get too excited about it. You just kind of, one way of expressing it was, I think I got this from maybe Baba Ram Das. I think it was him that might have said this. Something like, if a good thing happens, you go, so. If a bad thing happens, somebody rammed your car, so. You kind of have that. That's sort of, to me, more being enlightened, from that standpoint.
Accepting the fact of life, sir.
Yeah, whatever occurs, I think the 10th Zen patriarch said, the great way is the way of no preference. So if whatever happens, you don't prefer it to happen this way or that way, you're in the great way,
It doesn't put you in a dilemma, right?
Yeah. You don't get upset. You don't get too overly excited. You're even keeled and you're at peace.
Yeah. Well, we're coming down to about 50 seconds. What would you say to our viewers about pursuing meditation and that kind of stuff?
I would encourage everyone to meditate, definitely, and because my particular specialty is mindfulness of the body, I said get to be more in touch with your body, more and more.
Right,
and whatever you're doing physically, try to connect, and you'll be healthy and holy.
So at this point in our program, it's to say thank you for being here.
Right, thank you, Jimmy.
It's been very enlightening.
Yeah, good. That's
enlightening.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah. So maybe we can continue this conversation in a future show, maybe.
Well, I'd love to come by.
Yeah, no, we can
let me know.
Kind of look at it and scope it out, if you will.
Okay, great.
So thank you.
Thank you.